Hey guys, welcome back to Say Dreams YouTube channel. So this is the lecture number 9 in English. In the last video I have covered this lecture in Hindi, and because the already a 35-minute video was made, so that is why I tried to make a separate video for your English explanation. So in this video I'll teach you the topic number 5, that is your testing of internal controls. Okay, so let's get started with the video. So till yet you have studied about what are internal controls, what is the meaning of evaluation of internal control, and now we are going to study testing of internal control. Okay, so after assimilating the internal control system, the auditor needs to examine whether and how far the same is actually in operation. So through testing of internal control, the auditor comes to know, the auditor can conclude that whether the internal control that is being implemented by the organization, is it being implied in the same way. Okay, that means the internal control which the enterprise, which the entity has designed, are they following that internal control, or it is just on the papers or just for the sake of showing off. Okay, so the auditor has to ensure that whatever system is designed is equally implemented or is equally operated. Okay, so this the way by which the auditor will conclude this is through the testing of internal control. So for this he resorts to actual testing of the system in operation. Okay, so this he does on a selective basis. Now how does he do the test of controls? He does it on a selective basis, means first he focuses on the very material part, that is the area which has important areas. Okay, so first the auditor does an in-depth examination of that particular area. After that he comes to the other area. So in this way the auditor tests the whole internal control system. So this is does on a selective base. He can plan this testing in such a manner that all the important areas are covered in a period of say 3 years, and after that if the auditor will have time, then he will check the other areas. So selective testing is being done by application of procedural test and auditing in depth. Okay, now, test of controls are performed to obtain audit evidence about the effectiveness of the. Now, the test of controls, by through test of controls, you can obtain the audit evidence about the effectiveness of two things. First is your designing, and second is your operation. So this designing portion is already covered in the evaluation of internal control. So basically, the test of controls includes the part of evaluation of internal control. So through test of controls, what you can do is you can obtain audit evidence about that whether the accounting system, internal control system that is designed by the enterprise, that is designed by the entity, is it effective. Okay, so that means the design of the accounting and internal control system, whether they are suitably designed to prevent, detect and correct material misstatement. That means that whether the internal control which the entity has entity has designed, whether that internal control prevents, detects and corrects the material misstatement. Okay, so the internal control in an entity should be such that it is able to prevent, detect and correct any material misstatement. Okay, so this comes under evaluation part. First the auditor has to check that whether the designing is proper. If it is not proper, if it is not able to detect, prevent or correct the material misstatement, then do you think that internal control will be of any use? No. So that is why the first part that through testing of control the auditor has to check is the designing. Okay, so whether it is suitably designed or not. And the second part which the auditor needs to check is that the designed internal control, whether it is operated effectively or not. Okay, so that means suppose the study plan, let's take an example of your study plan. What do? You design it in a very effective manner, that I'll study for 12 to 14 hours in a day, I'll do this, I'll do that. But after 2-3 days or after end of the day, what do you conclude? That you were not able to reach your targets, or some of the targets were achieved and some are still left. Okay, so that means the designing was effective but the operation is not effective, right? So that is what the auditor has to check, that whether the operating of internal control is there throughout the period. And throughout the period, by throughout the period they mean that whether the operation is in consistency or not. Let's move to our example only. Suppose you have designed a plan for 1 month of study. Okay, you have designed a 1 month study plan, and on the 5 days in the starting of the 5 days of the month, you operate your plan, you operate the design plan very effectively. But from the 6th day, what happens is you are not able to achieve your daily targets. So from the sixth day, your plan starts becoming ineffective. Okay, so that is what the auditor has to check, that whether the designed internal control system is operative effectively, and is it operated throughout the period. Okay, so this means your consistency. I hope I am clear till here. Now let's move on to the further text. So test of controls include test of elements of the control environment where strengths in the control environment are used by the auditor to reduce control risk. Now through testing of controls, you come to know about the strengths and weaknesses of the internal control system. Right. So in this way, where the auditor finds that this particular area of the internal control system is strong. So what can the auditor conclude? The auditor can conclude that the risk in this particular area is comparatively lower than the other areas. Okay. So test of controls include test of elements of the control environment where strengths in the control environment are used by the auditor to reduce control risk. Now, some of the procedures performed to obtain the understanding of the accounting and internal control system may not have been specifically planned as test of controls, but may provide audit evidence about the effectiveness of the design and operation of internal controls relevant to certain assertions, and consequently serve as test of controls. Now, what do they mean? Ma'am, we couldn't understand anything. So, let me explain you in parts. See. Some of the procedures performed to obtain the understanding of the accounting and internal control system may not have been specifically planned as test of controls. So our first portion is still here. Means that some of the procedures that are used by the auditor to understand the accounting and internal control system, it is possible that they may not be initially specifically planned. Okay, so that means on the starting of your testing of controls, some of the procedures may not have been specifically planned as test of controls. But what happens is, due to the need of the circumstances, due to the need of the situation, what happens is you have to include some of the procedures which you didn't plan initially in your test of controls, but if you will perform those procedures, they will give you a more effective idea of the internal control system. Okay, so but may provide audit evidence about the effectiveness of the design and operation of internal controls relevant to certain assertions, and so therefore those procedures which were not specifically planned in the starting, but consequently, they serve as test of controls, because after using those procedures in our test of controls, the auditor could gain more confidence. The auditor could obtain more effective audit evidence regarding that particular area. Okay. So, for example, they have given example in obtaining the understanding of the accounting and internal control systems pertaining to cash. Now, the area which the auditor needs to check the accounting and internal control system, the auditor needs to check is pertaining to cash. So what can the auditor do? The auditor may have obtained audit evidence about the effectiveness of bank reconciliation process through inquiry and observation. Now these inquiry and observation may not be specifically planned in the starting of test of controls, but if we will perform this inquiry and observation of bank reconciliation process, then we will be able to gain more effective, more confident audit evidence regarding the cash. Okay, so that is why some of the procedures which were not specifically planned in the starting, but they may become the part of test of controls if they give you more effective audit evidence. Okay, so this is what is discussed in this paragraph. Now if you are finding that this language is a bit tough, so what you can do is you can use this leftover space in your study module, and you can just write the summary in your own words. Okay, so here you can write whatever I am speaking in just short, so that on the last day of your revision, what you can do, you can just study from your notes and you will have the whole idea about what has been discussed in the paragraph. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you about this. I forgot to tell you about this technique, but this technique really works, because whatever you will write, You will write through your own mind, right? You will write whatever you understood. So in this way, what will happen, the handwritten text will help you to revise it more effectively. Okay, so please develop this habit from this video onwards. And what you have to do is, you just have to write the summary, just 4-5 points, whatever I have taught you in this paragraph. For example, you can write here, may not be specifically planned in the initial stage of test of controls, but because they give effective audit evidence, they may be consequently become the part of test of controls. So just these two to three lines you just have to write here. Okay, so in this way you will have the whole idea of whatever is discussed in this paragraph. Okay. Now, when the auditor concludes that the procedures performed to obtain the understanding of accounting and internal control systems also provide audit evidence about the suitability of design and operating effectiveness of policies and procedures relevant to particular financial statement assertion, the auditor may use that audit evidence provided it is sufficient to support a control risk assessment at less than a high level. So that means through the testing of controls, if the auditor concludes that the testing of controls is very effective, also that controls, that internal control system, or the testing of that internal control system gives you the evidence that the whatever is designed, whatever internal control system is designed, is suitable. And suitability of design and operating effectiveness means it is effective, and the design whatever is implemented by the organization is effective. Okay, so what will the auditor conclude? That the risk can be easily prevented, detected and corrected. The risk of material misstatement can be prevented, detected and corrected, because the internal control system is working in a very effective manner. Okay, in a very efficient manner. So the auditor may use that as audit evidence, provided it is sufficient to support a control risk assessment. But if the auditor is using let me read it from the starting again. When the auditor concludes that procedures performed to obtain the understanding of accounting and internal control system also provide audit evidence about the suitability of design and operating effectiveness of the policies and procedures relevant to the particular financial statement assertion. See, test of control includes these two things. The auditor was testing the operation, but the auditor also concluded that this part is also good, this part is also effective. So the auditor may use that audit evidence. So the auditor may use this audit evidence as his audit evidence, on the basis of which he will give his opinion. So provided this audit evidence that we are talking about here is sufficient to support a control risk assessment at less than a high level, means if there is any lower level of risk also, that is also easily detected through that audit evidence. Okay, so the audit evidence, the auditor can use that audit evidence, but it should be sufficient to support a control risk assessment at less than a high level. That means if the risk is high, then not only then, but if the risk is low, then also it is easily assessed. Okay, so this is what all is discussed in these paragraphs. Now, test of controls may include all these procedures. So, inspection of documents supporting transactions and other events to gain audit evidence that internal controls have operated properly. For example, verifying that a transaction has been authorized. Now, this is one of the most important procedure of test of controls, that is your inspection of documents. So whatever documents are supporting the transactions, whatever documents are the example, whatever documents are the documents of the transactions that happened in the entity, so those transactions should be authorized. None of the transactions should be such that it is not authorized. Okay, so first point that the auditor has to test is whether the transactions that happened in the entity, are they authorized? Has the senior level given authority to do those transactions or not? So this can be done through the inspection of documents. Okay, now second thing the auditor can do for the testing of controls is inquiry. Now, inquiry and observation. Okay, inquiry and observation. First was inspection, second is inquiry, third is observation. So inquiry is an observation of internal controls which leave no audit trail. For example, who actually performs each function and not merely who is supposed to perform it. So that means, suppose a sales manager, Okay, a sales manager is supposed to keep a check on whatever is sales, whatever is happening in the sales activity. Okay, so the auditor, through inspection and observation, sorry, through inquiry and observation, has to ascertain that whether the banda or the means the person who is supposed to do that job, is he supposed to do sorry the person who is performing the job, is he supposed to do that job? Okay, so suppose the work of sales manager is to deal with all the transactions related to the sales. Okay, so whether that sales manager is only involved or any other person on behalf of that sales manager is operating, is checking with all those transactions. Okay, so this the auditor can check through inquiry and observation, that whether the work that is being performed is performed by the person who is supposed to do it, or the person who is actually performing it is different from the person who is supposed to do it. So this the auditor has to check. Okay, now your fourth procedure of test of controls is your re-performance. Now re-performance includes the auditor independent execution of procedures or controls that were originally performed as part of entity's internal control. For example, reconciliation of bank accounts to ensure that they were correctly performed by the entity. Now re-performance means performing again. So what can the auditor do? The auditor first understands that okay, these procedures or these controls were being implemented by the entity. So what can the auditor do? The auditor can re-perform the other aspect, the other perspective of that particular procedure or control, and then he will do, he will check that this should be done, whether it is done. Okay, so this he can do through re-performance. For example, a reconciliation of bank accounts. Now these include two elements. First is your bank, second is your cash. Now suppose the cash account is given. So what can the auditor do? The reconciliation the auditor can do, and if he finds that there is any difference, then he will conclude that there is some weakness. Okay, so re-performance involves the auditor's independent execution. That means the auditor has to re-perform either the procedures or controls that were originally performed as part of the entity's internal control, and he will check that if the entity has adopted this procedure or this control, the situation should be such. So is the situation that in that way only, or is it different? If it is different, that means there is some weakness, and if it is the same, then the controls are effectively. Okay, the controls are operated effectively. So this is all what is given in this. Now, testing of internal control operating on specific computerized applications or over the overall information technology function, for example, access or program change controls. Now, because the business is moving through automated business environment, so what is happening is actually the access or the program change controls is a major concern. That means the person suppose 2-3 persons have the access or have the information of passwords and other personalized data or the security data. Okay, but anyhow, if any third party, if any other person steals or gets that information, he may make a misuse of that. So what happens is there is some weakness in the controls. So because the entity is moving through automated business environment, so the auditor should consider that whether they have proper controls for that. Okay, so they should make proper arrangements that if the access is lost or if there is any program change controls, then what will the entity do? So the auditor needs to check all the controls that the entity should implement. Okay, now while obtaining audit evidence about the effective operation of internal controls, the auditor considers how they were applied, the consistency with which they were applied during the period, and by whom they were applied. So through the test of controls, the auditor checks three things. Now what are the three things? That how they were applied, that means are they applied in the way they were designed? Okay, now the consistency which they were applied, with which they were applied, that means were they performed throughout the period or they were performed only at a particular point of time. Okay, and by whom they were applied, that means are those controls performed by the person who is supposed to do that, or the controls are operated by the any other person. Okay, now the concept of effective operation recognizes that some deviations may have occurred. Now what is effective operation? Effective operation is that there might be some differences, there might be some deviations. That means what is designed and what is being implemented, there might be some deviations due to some factors, but the entity should consider all those deviations and should make sufficient measures, sufficient controls to reduce the risk of those deviations. Now why does the deviations occur between what is designed and what is being implemented? Okay, this we are talking about internal control system. So deviations from prescribed control may be caused by such factors as change in key personnel, significant seasonal fluctuations in volume of transactions, and human error. Now these are some factors because of which deviations may occur. That means the designed internal control system is something else and what is being operated is something else. So this is because suppose in entity, suppose any there were changes in any key personnel. That means the people who were very very important for the entity left the entity. Okay, or there were any seasonal fluctuations. Now because of these factors, the internal control may become weak at some point of time. So when deviations are detected, the auditor makes specific inquiries regarding these matters, particularly the timing of staff changes in key internal control functions. So the auditor then ensures that the test of controls appropriately covers such a period or change or fluctuation. So the auditor should ensure that the test of controls appropriately covers such a period or change in fluctuation. That means the auditor should know about these deviations, and based on the results of the test of controls, the auditor should evaluate whether the internal controls are designed and operated as contemplated in the preliminary assessment of control risk. Okay, so that means suppose the auditor finds some deviations, and on the basis of the previous internal control, the auditor has assessed some point of risk. Okay, the auditor has contemplated some point of risk. Let me tell you again, let me repeat it. See, I am talking about deviation of internal control. Now before the auditor discovered this deviation, the auditor did the testing of the internal control. The auditor was doing the testing of internal control and he was not aware of the deviations till that point of time. So the auditor assessed some amount of risk in the entity. Okay, now the evaluation of deviations. Now what happened? He moved forward. Till here he didn't find any deviation, but as he moved forward through the testing of internal controls, he found that there were some deviations in the internal control. That means what was designed was different from what was being operated. Okay, so the evaluation of deviations may result in the auditor concluding that the assessed level of risk, that means the assessed level which he has assessed, needs to be revised. So in such cases, the auditor would modify the nature, timing, and extent of the planned substantive procedure. Now if the auditor finds that there is any deviation, then he will have to increase the amount of risk. So the risk should be revised and he has to increase the nature, timing, and extent of his further audit procedures. Okay. Now, before the conclusion of audit, based on the results of substantive procedures and other audit evidence obtained by the auditor should consider whether the assessment of control risk is concerned. Now, before reaching to any opinion in the risk assessment procedure, the auditor should first confirm the risk. Okay, and then on the basis of this, he should do his further audit procedure. And again, in the, like, suppose he found some deviation, then he should do the risk assessment again, and he should perform some other substantive procedures also. Okay, so before giving any opinion, the risk should be fixed, the risk should be confirmed. Okay, and in case of deviations from the prescribed accounting and internal control system, the auditor would make specific inquiries to consider their implications. And where on the basis of such inquiries, the auditor concludes that the deviations are such that preliminary assessment of control risk is not supported. This is all what I have already told you. We would amend the same unless the audit evidence obtained from other test of controls supports that assessment. So they are saying that suppose the auditor has performed various further audit procedure, or the auditor has performed various tests of controls. Now in one test of controls, what happened is the auditor observed some deviation, and through the performance of testing of controls, the auditor was he was assessing the risk. Okay, Now what happened is, some of the test of controls gave this means he has performed various test of controls. So all the test of controls give approx the same level of risk. Okay, but what happened, suppose in test of control number 1 he obtained a deviation. Okay, and because of that deviation, the audit risk was increasing to a high level. So he has to revise the whole assessment of risk, because all the other test of controls were giving another conclusion, another assessment of risk. Okay, so where the auditor concludes that the assessed level of control risk need to be revised, he would modify the nature, timing, and extent of his substantive procedure. Okay, now it has been suggested that the actual operation of internal control should be tested by the application of procedural test and examination in depth. So this I have already told you in the starting, that the auditor needs to check all the internal control system in the depth. Okay, so procedural tests simply mean testing of the compliance with the procedures laid down by the management in respect of initiation, authorization, recording, and documentation of transaction at each stage through which it flows. So test of controls basically includes procedural test. Now what are the procedural tests? Procedural test includes testing of the compliance with the procedures. So that means whatever was complied, is it being performed in the same way? So the auditor has to check the procedural test into basically 4 procedures. First is your initiation, second is your authorization, third is your recording, and fourth is your documentation. Okay, so for example, the procedure for says, now they have given an example to clear you about the procedural testing. Now, for example, the procedure for sales required the following. Before acceptance of any order, the position of inventory of the relevant article should be known to ascertain whether the order can be executed in time. Now, this is your initiation. So, let's take an example of Flipkart. Okay, now from Flipkart, suppose you have to order any product. Now, um, whenever you will check your desired product, you will see two things: either it is in stock or either it is out of stock. Now how does the system know that whether it is in stock or whether it is out of stock? So this is because at the time of initiation, at the time before receiving of the orders, the position of inventory was checked by the system. Okay, so this is the first step of procedural testing, that before accepting any order, you should note that whether you have sufficient stock of the same product for which the order is being received. Okay, so this is the first step. So before acceptance of any order, the position of inventory of the relevant article should be known to ascertain that whether the order can be executed in time. Okay, because if the product will be out of stock, then the product will be delayed. So this is the first part of the effective internal control system, that whatever you are taking order of whichever product you are receiving the order, first you should know that whether that product is available in your inventory or not. Okay, now second point is your authorization. So an advice under the authorization of sales manager should be sent to the party placing the order, internal reference number, and the acceptance of the order. This advice should be prepared on a standardized form, and copy thereof should be forwarded to the inventory section to enable it to prepare for the execution of the order in time. Now whatever is being in the whatever is available on the website for sales purpose should be authorized. Okay, so an advice under the authorization of sales manager should be sent to the party placing the order, internal reference number, and acceptance of the order, and this advice should be prepared on a standardized form, and copy thereof should be forwarded to the inventory section. That means whatever is authorized should only be processed through the website, through the sales. It should not happen that whatever is not authorized should not be available in the inventory. So this standardized copy of authorization should be forwarded to the inventory section, so that whatever is authorized, only the inventory for that particular product is maintained in the inventory system. Okay, now so this point was about your authorization. So we have discussed about the two procedural test part. First was your stage number 1, that was your initiation. Second is your authorization. Now third is the credit period allowed to the party should be the normal credit period. For any specific credit, a special authorization of sales manager would be necessary. Now this also includes your authorization only. Now suppose if the product is purchased on a credit basis. Okay, if the sales is your credit sales. Okay, so the credit period which is being allotted to the customer should be a normal credit period, and if it is a special credit period, if it is extra, then it should be authorized by the sales manager. Okay, now your third point was recording. So the rate at which the audit has been accepted and other terms about transport insurance should be clearly specified. So this all should be clearly specified. So this is your recording part. And documentation is, before deciding upon a credit period, a reference should be made to the credit section to know the credit worthiness of the party, and particularly whether the party has honored its commitment in the past. Now suppose the customer is your old customer. He usually does credit purchases from your website. Now if the entity will maintain a proper document of all the customers, then they will come to know that whether the customer has a proper credit worthiness. That means whether he pays back on time or not. Okay, so if there will be no documentation, will you be able to ascertain that whether the customer has a proper credit worthiness or not? No. So that is why a proper documentation should be done. And if you find that the customer is not does not have a proper credit worthiness, then you should not give him sales on a then you should not do credit sales with that particular customer. Now an auditor testing the internal controls on sales should be invariably tested whether any of the aforesaid procedures have been omitted. Now this is all what is your procedural testing. Okay, now an auditor testing the internal controls on sales should invariably test all the procedures. That means if the auditor is testing the internal control system on sales, all these initiation, recording, all these controls on these particular stages should be there. And if anything is omitted, so invariably test whether any of the aforesaid procedures have been omitted. And if he finds that it is omitted, now suppose if credit has actually been granted without a reference to the credit section, that means the person who gave the customer the product on a credit, he didn't check the credit worthiness of the party. So it is possible that the amount, that means if we do not perform this fifth step, then what may happen, it is possible that the amount may prove bad, because we didn't check about the credit worthiness, we were unaware, and it is not guaranteed that whether we will able to receive our money back or not. So because it is possible that that amount may prove bad because of the financial crisis or deadlock in the management of the party. Okay, a fact which could have been reasonably easily gathered from the credit section. That means if they had documented each and everything about that particular customer, then they would easily discover about his or her credit worthiness, but they didn't do, they omitted this. So that is why this amount it is possible that this amount may become bad. Similarly, if an order is received without a reference to the inventory section, that was your first point, it is likely that due to the unavailability of the inventory of the stipulated date, that means first when you visited the website, it was showing that it is in stock. You place the order, and after 2 to 3 days you are getting a message that this product cannot be delivered to you or will be delayed because it is out of stock. Then what image about that particular website, about that particular company will you develop in your mind? You will develop that this company is careless and they are not concerned about the customer needs. Okay, so it is likely that due to the non-availability of the inventory on a stipulated date, execution of order may be delayed and the company may have to compensate the buyer for the damages suffered by him. Okay, so the company may have to compensate the buyer if any damages have been suffered by the buyer. So all these essentials should be performed. All these are essentials of the internal control system, and all these should be included in an entity. Okay, so this we discussed about the sales. Now for different transactions, for different assertions, there are different procedures. So this is all about your topic number 5, and I hope that I could explain you. If you have any problems, then you can definitely comment down, and if you're finding my videos helpful, then please let me know through the comment section. I would be very glad to know your feedback. Okay, and if you have any doubts, any queries, then you're free to comment. I'll reply to each and every comment. Okay, each and every doubt. So ending this video here, and thank you so much.